Hi everyone, so welcome to our episode with Orla. So I'm just going to start it off, Orla. Can you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, my name is Orla. I am a second year student at Digby, although I have been here for 3 years, and I currently study ancient history, and I'm the Vice President for Digby this year, which is 2020 to 2021.
Real. So yeah, moving on from that, just a little bit about yourself, please. So like a bit of background before you came to uni would be great if you wouldn't mind sharing.
Yeah, I had a bit of a less conventional path, I suppose you could say. To be honest, when I actually started at Roehampton, I was studying dance. I only did it for a couple of weeks, but I ended up changing. So I did dance at college, and that was my only really route into university because I had some issues at school. I actually got kicked out of school when I was about 13. So it really has been a bit of a journey coming here. But now I suppose I'm here and I'm doing well and it's fun.
Wow, well, at least you're enjoying it. I suppose that's quite a big thing in itself to like have such an experience and then be really enjoying your time at uni.
Yeah, no, definitely.
No, great. Moving on. So, are you the first person in your family to go to uni? Did you know that uni was like a route you always wanted to take, or is it something that kind of just happened?
I'm not the first person. My mum definitely went to uni. I'm sure my dad did too, but maybe later in life. I actually don't know. So I think it was probably always something that I wanted to do, but not much that I can recall because my schooling was slightly different. It was never everything was working towards a particular goal. But definitely by the age of 16, I knew that that was something I wanted to do. But I never would have imagined I would have been studying classics or ancient history. I'd never heard of the subject before coming to Roehampton, and now I'm in my third year of studying that subject.
But are you enjoying like studying it as well?
Yeah, I love it. I've kind of discovered my true inner nerd and bookworm, but it took a while. But yeah, I really enjoy it now.
Oh no, that's brilliant. So like you wouldn't want to change your course to like being a dance student or anything now then?
No,
After
definitely
3
not.
years.
No, dance is just on the side. I still love dance, but I do more as a hobby now.
Oh well, at least you've not got rid of it completely then, that you still have like an element of something before uni and something that you enjoy to like just have on the side and carry on with.
Yeah, I mean, dance is what got me to university, so I kind of wouldn't want to let it go, you know.
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of like you, a part of you maybe feels like you owe it to dance almost that you've got
Yeah,
so far.
no, definitely. And to all the teachers I had before college for dance and my dance tutors at college, yeah.
Oh no, that's brilliant. I totally understand where you're coming from. Like, and I'm glad to hear that something that played such a big part in your life is still quite a big part in your life. Um, so like just moving on from that a little bit, what's one of the things that you struggled with quite a bit, if you don't mind us asking?
Currently, or you mean, you know, coming here?
Just both, I suppose. So like currently, obviously, we've had the lockdown and things. It's been quite difficult for a lot of students and a lot of adults actually, and children. So if there's something that you struggled with recently that you've found a way of dealing with or overcoming, like if you want to share that, then feel free. And like also the same with like coming to uni, if there's something that you struggled with there, like please feel free to share all that as well.
Yeah, I suppose coming to uni itself and even the past few years have been somewhat of a struggle because I definitely have some gaps in my education. But particularly this year, so this third lockdown, God, yes, the third lockdown from January, I did quit my job because I just wanted to focus more on uni. I have picked up another job now. That's not much of a surprise, but I've really enjoyed this term, and I've been doing all the readings and stuff, and I've just sort of found this energy that I didn't really know I had, and it has been really enjoyable. But I definitely was never the studious person or that kind of student before. I wouldn't really do the pre-readings ever, and I always thought maybe this course isn't for me and I'm not made for this, I didn't do it at school. But really it is about putting the time into it and being disciplined, which I'm still not in many ways, like most people. But yeah, don't underestimate the power of doing the pre-reading.
No, definitely. So would you say that's something like positive that you've like got out of lockdown almost? Like lockdown's kind of helped you engage more with your work at uni?
Yeah, because I was always that person that put too much on their plate. So I was always busy running around. I think I had like 3 different jobs before the lockdown. I was working in a bar, I was working at a museum, and I was also working in larger hospitality with events and stuff. So lockdown has really helped me discover, you know, who I am and what I enjoy. I've been working in healthcare for the past year, so I've picked up a lot of different skills. So I don't want to sort of glamorize the lockdown or anything like that, but it has definitely had some positive impacts on me, but of course negative impacts as well, you know, not being able to see people and what we're all experiencing. But I think if you can pick out something positive from it and run with that, then do.
No, definitely. I think it's almost like as a coping mechanism too, a little bit. Like it's almost a glass half full situation.
Yeah.
In a sense that, okay, we know that there's loads of like bad things going on right now, but what can I gain from this? What opportunities have I been given from this? And like from what you're saying, I totally understand in a sense of like being a person that has so much on their plate. But it's kind of, as it by the sounds of it, it's what you like prioritize a little bit more and take a bit of a back seat, hasn't it?
Yeah, no, precisely. And it's allowed me to put more into, you know, what I'm actually doing and prioritizing things like my role as a vice president, and also, you know, getting my degree, because the degree was not a priority before it was working. So switching up those prioritizations, and working a lot harder with the college and, you know, the vice president stuff has really been positive, not just for me, but it also, I think, has an impact on the general student population, that we're doing a lot more than perhaps we might have been able to do in the past. And although it's online, I would say there's a larger presence. I feel like we've managed to build up this presence online.
Yeah, definitely agree. Like I normally log on to Instagram and like there's usually a video or a competition going out on your Instagram that I'm always happy to share and like see what engagement we get from it. So I can definitely tell that you're working really hard on that front as well. And like to hear that you're doing it academically as well is amazing, just because obviously we sometimes forget that we're at uni to get a degree at the end of the day, and everything else is kind of just extracurricular. I can't say the word.
Curricular.
There we go. We got there in the end. And it does help, and like it contributes to life skills and things. But at the end of the day, like not prioritizing your degree, something that you're paying so much money for, is always a risk, isn't it? And I'm really glad to hear that you have now like prioritized it. And obviously it couldn't have come at a better time. You're in your 3rd year now, so maybe lockdown's been a bit of a blessing in that way, but then also a bit more of a struggle as well, just with it being 3rd year and like wanting to have like physical interaction and stuff with lecturers and like being able to see them and see your classmates. In that way it's been a bit difficult, but by the sounds of it, you definitely gained some positive skills from it. So obviously you mentioned being Digby president, deputy president. There we go.
I think that's your role, Raz.
Deputy president. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? So like, what have you done this year that you're most proud of? I know you've done a lot, but just like maybe a couple of things that have really stuck with you and like you thought, yeah, I've actually smashed it there.
Well, I mean, there's been a lot, and I think all the part-time officers have worked really hard this year. But one project that was important to me was the isolation packages.
Mm-hmm.
I started running that. I didn't start that until the beginning of November, so there would have been some students missed in September and October. But you know, you need that to recognise the sort of the deepness of a particular issue, and it was clearly an issue. So I think I'm most proud of that. I did all the food shopping by myself with the help of a friend that I live with. lots and lots of shopping and stored it all in my bedroom, and contacted students most of the time myself through Instagram. I didn't break into any blocks, but I would have to wait outside for a random student to go in, and I'd go in with my suitcase and deliver these packages. I dragged a huge trolley from the RSU with no help that was so heavy. It took me about half an hour to walk from the RSU back to Digby.
Oh wow.
So yeah, that was a lot. And I have delivered, I actually have some numbers here. I believe it's roughly about 30% of flats on Digby. And I've actually calculated there are 77 flats on Digby, which is pretty surprising. And I've delivered to 30 of those.
Wow.
So yeah, I've delivered to 30 different flats on Digby. So for me, that has been somewhat of an achievement. And that's been done from about mid-November up until currently, where there aren't so many packages needing to be delivered, thank God. But they're still available if needed.
Well, no, like I've spoken to flats that I know have been in isolation, etc. I've been fortunate enough to not have to isolate, but having spoken to people, they have really appreciated it. I think they got to one point and people were like, "Whoa, like the uni's doing so much, like all is doing great." Kind of wish I was in isolation. I was like, maybe that's not something you want to wish, but if you are, like, just reach out. I mean, quite a few people contacted me to then obviously thank you on their behalf, which I think is really, really lovely, because I think you've definitely made that bond with students on campus this year, which is obviously really difficult to do at the best of times, but you've managed to do it in lockdown when everything's online and we obviously can't physically go out and see students and like chat to them. You've managed to build a great repertoire with them, and people know you, and I think that's quite nice in itself to know that you've been able to help so many people and get them through like their lockdown blues, essentially. Do you know what I mean?
It's been really nice to hear all the positive feedback from people, and it has been really well received, and I think more so than I thought, because I just sort of did it and I was like, I'm doing this. I didn't actually pass it through the college or anything. I just said I'm going to do this, and I hand wrote these cards and stuff. But yeah, I didn't expect it to be as good as it has been, because to me it didn't feel like such a big task at the time. But looking back on it, I think it was. So I suppose, I'm not the kind of person to say, oh, I'm proud of this, but I am proud of it actually, because I think it's helped a lot of people and it's something positive to take forward. And I'm glad that I've made a difference to those people.
No, definitely. I think you should definitely be proud of it, like run with it, tell people about it. It's something that you've done out of the goodness of your own heart. So own it. That's what I would say anyway. But I totally understand where you're coming from, in a sense that you obviously don't want to like brag about it, but it wouldn't be bragging. It would just be owning and like sharing like a sense of love almost that's come from lockdown, and people's appreciation for it as well. That's just made me really happy. Just moving on from that now. Is there anything that you'd like to improve, like in your role? Whether it be something based on college or like something that you've been doing that you'd like to maybe work on a little bit and like set yourself a little goal by the end of the year?
Yeah, obviously a lot of the in-person stuff would, be really great to have back on board. There's been some speculation about Roehampton's Got Talent, Roe's Got Talent, which obviously I was planning to run. I've spent the last year making plans for it, talking to various people, trying to organise it, and really I don't want to sort of waste it and have a bad engagement with it because it's online, and logistically there's no way to set it up that's really great for anyone. So I have decided to put that on hold. And whether or not next year I continue in my role or another role, I'm still going to take that on board and have it run in person as much as we can, because I think it's a good idea and lots of people want to engage with it, and I don't want to disappoint by not doing it. But at the same time, I would rather hold off so that it really can be great, rather than just another Zoom event. We want this to be really good. So yeah, I'm going to hold off on that, and I'd like to continue that kind of stuff and the in-person activity as soon as it can resume.
Oh, that sounds great. That's definitely something I'm looking forward to. Just when we've spoken about it between us and like when we've been in various other like meetings or like chatting to people, we've definitely had some really good feedback on it. And I know there are a lot of people that are wanting to have things like that. And I think it's just a really nice idea to allow students to then engage with something where they can showcase their talents as well. Obviously, we'd have like specific societies and things happening at this time in the year and running throughout the year. But obviously, that's had to stop a little bit this year, and it's not the same when it's online, like you've mentioned. So I definitely think that this would be a really, really great opportunity for both you and students. But yeah. So what would you say you've gained from your role and like life in uni in general?
I've gained so many things the past few years. It's really hard to pinpoint a couple, but I've just
Maybe
met
just
so
like
many
two or three.
Yeah, okay. Well, the people is definitely. I've met so many of you guys. I've engaged with a lot of staff and other students and the wider community, and that's been really positive for all parties involved. Really, the community here is something that I've really enjoyed. And yeah, Raz, I've forgotten the question. I'm very sorry.
No, you're totally fine. It's just like, what have you gained from uni? So like either what have you gained from your role at uni or just uni in general? Or maybe even both, like whichever ones you want.
Yeah, well, no, obviously those connections, like I just mentioned, but also confidence, to be able to actually engage with those connections, because I think, anyone could sort of go to a lecture or go to these online events, especially at the moment, and be there. But I think to engage is something that's a lot more difficult, and it takes a lot of time to build up the type of confidence to do that. So that's something that took me a while, and I wouldn't have been able to do it without the help of other people within the community. And so now that's something I want to, be able to help other people to do. So yeah, I'd just say it's given me a lot of confidence, it's given me a lot of connections, and it's made my time at uni a lot more fun. And it's also made my time in lockdown a lot more interesting, or at least filled out. There's been things that we've been needing to do to support people. And I suppose in a sense that's helped me be able to continue those sort of social interactions that other people may not have the opportunity to do.
Oh, brilliant. That's some really nice stuff to have gained from it. So again, I think you were just looking at it from like a glass half full type situation, which is quite nice. And I think a lot of people have learned that a little bit during lockdown. It's like you could look for the bad in everything, but I think it just makes you feel a little bit worse for wear, doesn't it? So looking for the good in everything. A great Jason Mraz song, by the way, maybe give that a listen. So we could just finish up with if you could give yourself advice either before you came to uni or when you were younger or even like now, what advice would you give yourself?
I think this is very cliche, but get involved. Don't be embarrassed to put yourself out there or worry about what other people think. If they're going to say, oh, they're a bit of a try hard or something, don't worry about all of those things, because I think without hyping myself up, I think I can set quite a good example to show that, to go from not being in education, being asked to leave education, and now sitting in my second, third year at uni and being a program rep and being the vice president and getting really involved in my degree. I think it just goes to show that getting involved can just make such a difference on an individual, and it's not something to be embarrassed about, and you can have so much fun and gain so much experience and skills on the way. So my advice to anyone and to my younger self is to just get involved and try everything. Some things you're not going to like, without a doubt, but some things you will enjoy, and you can learn to run with those. So yeah, get involved with whatever you can.
No, definitely. I feel like that is a really, really, really valuable piece of advice. Do you think if someone had told you that when you were younger, do you think you maybe would have listened, or do you think you listen to it more now because you're a little bit older and like you kind of understand the reasoning behind it?
yeah, I don't really think I listened to anyone at that point in time. But I suppose, you know, that was coming from, you know, adults and, you know, people like this, whereas I'm still young, you know, I'm 21. So I feel like younger people are more likely to be receptive to that when they can still see, you know, it's not like 40 years later I'm in a career and I'm going, you know, do this. It still feels relevant. So I don't want people to be like put off or feel that it's something that's out of their reach, because it really isn't. Yeah.
No, definitely. I think it's really interesting that you mentioned the whole someone who's probably like really into their career and like has obviously been to uni, got a job, giving that advice is very different to someone maybe our age giving that advice. I think it just reinforces the whole, you do tend to listen to people that you're probably closer to in age, and it's like the whole, you're more likely to listen to advice if you know someone's got life experience on it as well.
Exactly.
So I think that's really, really important. So hopefully people that are listening to this now, that are possibly either students in uni or someone that's just come across it, they do take that advice on board and they do get involved a little bit more, and it will benefit them in some way. So I think that advice is really, really great. I've actually run out of questions to ask you now. So is there anything else that you'd like to mention or touch on before we wrap up, or?
No, nothing in particular. I suppose the only thing that I would say is that if people are feeling like they want to get involved, the Students Union elections are coming up soon, and there are a host of roles that you can do within that, from being a mental health officer to environmental officer to college positions as well, such as mine and Raz are currently doing now. And it's such a great opportunity to get involved, and even just running in the elections and having a campaign can be a lot of fun. So if you're wanting to get involved, go for it. And if you have questions about roles, just message us. And yeah, you never know who you might be up against.
Brilliant. Also, just going off of like wanting to get involved, like Orla just said, if anyone that's listening would like to get involved in one of our episodes, please reach out, because obviously these are done for you. We're here for you. So if there's any topics that you'd like us to address, there's anything that you'd like to talk about, please reach out. We're more than happy to sit down and have a talk. Maybe it might be in person if we're allowed, if not over Zoom. We're up for getting engaged with students as much as we can. I think Orla and I are both on the same page in that sense.
Yeah, so. Yeah, it can be about absolutely anything. It doesn't have to be related to uni. It could just be a personal experience or a story that you have that you would like to share that may or may not be relevant to other people. Absolutely anything goes.
Definitely. Right. Well, Orla, thank you so much for sitting and talking with us. I really appreciate it. It's been really lovely just getting a little in. I feel like I've worked with you, but I've only just gotten to know you a little bit. So it's been really, really lovely for me, and hopefully for those people listening as well. So I think that's about it, and that's a wrap. And I just want to thank everyone that's listening as well. Have a lovely, lovely day, everyone.
Yeah, no, it's been really good. Thank you, Raz. And keep posted, everyone. We'll have more episodes on the way, talking to lots of different people. So, yeah.